Hello. On another note, I just want to bring people's attention to debt instruments. So we see there finance, bonds are debt instruments. Sold to investors for organisations such as companies, governments or charities. So bonds are debt instruments. Now if we go to imf.org, wrong URL. Why does it always happen? Right, imf.org, and we go to special drawing rights. Now we see that special drawing rights, and if you want to see the URL, imf.org, internal blah blah blah, special drawing rights. The SDR is an international reserve asset created by the IMF in 1969 to supplement its member countries' official reserves. Its value is based on a basket of 4 key international currencies, and SDRs can be exchanged for freely usable currencies, with a general SDR allocation that took effect on August the 28th and a special allocation on September the 9th, 2009. Amount of SDRs increased from SDR 21.4 billion to SDR 204 billion, the equivalent to about $308 billion converted by using the rate of August the 31st, 2010. The role of the SDR was created by the IMF in 1969 to support the Bretton Woods fixed exchange rate system. A country participating in this system needed official reserves, government or central bank holdings of gold, widely accepted foreign currencies that could be used to purchase the domestic currency in foreign exchange markets as required to maintain its exchange rate, but the international supply of 2 key reserve assets, gold and the US dollar, proved inadequate for supporting the expansion of world trade and financial development that was taking place. Therefore, the international community decided to create a new international reserve asset under the auspices of the IMF. However, only a few years later, the Bretton Woods system collapsed and the major currencies shifted to a floating exchange rate regime. In addition, the growth in international capital markets facilitated borrowing by creditworthy governments. Both of these developments lessened the need for SDRs. The SDR is neither a currency nor a claim on the IMF. Rather, it is a potential claim on the freely usable currencies of IMF members. Holders of SDRs can obtain these currencies in exchange for their SDRs in 2 ways. First, through the arrangement of voluntary exchanges between members, and second, by the IMF designating members with strong external positions to purchase SDRs from members with weak external positions. In addition to its role as a supplementary reserve asset, the SDR serves as the unit of account of the IMF and some other international organisations. The basket of currency determines the value of the SDR. The value of the SDR was initially defined as equivalent to $1. After the collapse of the Bretton Woods system in 1973, however, the SDR was redefined as a basket of currencies, today consisting of the euro, the Japanese yen, the pound sterling, and the US dollar. The US dollar equivalent of SDR is posted daily on IMF's website. It is calculated as the sum of specific amounts of the four basket currencies valued in US dollars on the basis of exchange rates quoted at noon each day in the London market. The basket composition is reviewed every 5 years by the Executive Board to ensure that it reflects the relative importance of currencies in the world's trading and financial systems. In the most recent review, in November 2010, the weights of the currencies in the SDR basket were revised based on the value of the exports of goods and services and the amount of reserves denominated in the respective currencies that were held by other members of the IMF. These changes become effective on January the 1st, 2011. The next review will take place in 2015. The SDR interest rate provides the basis for calculating the interest charged to members on regular non-concessional IMF loans. The interest paid to members on their SDR holdings and charged on their SDR allocations, and the interest paid to members on a portion of their quota subscriptions. The SDR interest rate is determined weekly and is based on a weighted average of representative interest rates on a short-term debt in the money markets. SDR allocation to IMF members. Under this article of agreement, the IMF may allocate SDRs to members in proportion to their IMF quotas. Such an allocation provides each member with an asset, SDR holdings, and an equivalent liability, SDR allocation. If a member's SDR holding rise above its allocation, it earns interest on the excess. Conversely, if it holds fewer SDRs than allocated, it pays interest on the shortfall. There are two kinds of allocations. General allocations of SDRs. General allocations have to be based on a long-term global need to supplement existing reserve assets. Decisions to allocate SDRs have been made 3 times. The first allocation was for a total amount of SDR 9.3 billion, distributed in 1970 to 1972 in yearly instalments. The second allocation for SDR 12.1 billion was distributed in 1979 to 81 in yearly instalments. The third general allocation was approved on August 7, 2009 for an amount of SDR 161.2 billion and took place on August 28, 2009. The allocation increased simultaneously members' SDR holdings and their cumulative SDR allocations by about 74.13% of their quota. Special allocations of SDRs. A proposal for a special one-time allocation of SDRs was approved by the IMF's Board of Governors in September 1997 through the proposed Fourth Amendment of the Articles of Agreement. Its intent is to enable all members of the IMF to participate in the SDR system on an equitable basis and correct for the fact that countries that joined the fund after 1981, more than 1/5 of the current IMF membership, had never received an SDR allocation. The Fourth Amendment became effective for all members on August 10, 2009, when the fund certified that at least 3/5 of the IMF membership of 112 members, with 85% of the total voting power, accepted it. On August 5, 2009, the United States joined 133 members in supporting the amendment. The special allocation was implemented on September 9, 2009. It increased members' cumulative SDR allocations by SDR 21.5 billion using a common benchmark ratio as described in the amendment. The buying and selling of SDRs. IMF members often need to buy SDRs to discharge obligations to the IMF, or they may wish to sell SDRs in order to adjust the composition of their reserves. The IMF acts as an intermediary between members and